what you say. Pop rock lines, we're here to stay. No fake rules, no corporate chains. We're calling out your lying games. Shut the fuck up, we're breaking through. Speaking truth like we always do. No star seed, no watered down sound. Punks unite, we stand our ground. Raise your voice, shout out loud. When the misfits lost in the crowd. No surrender, no backing down. This revolution's underground. Shut the fuck up, we're breaking through.
What's up, guys? It's Ben. We're here on Saturday night. I've got a really cool guest tonight, different than what I normally have, which is great. I'm trying to mix it up a little bit. Tonight we have Merrick, who is America's next top model, or no, Antifa's next top model. Self-proclaimed Antifa model, and probably a DSA card-carrying member, if I had to guess. She's gone viral a couple times for various stories, and I'm going to let her share those with you. I'm not going to share those myself and give you any spoilers. But yeah, I'm going to bring her up on stage. It looks like she is figuring out some tech stuff real quick. Let's see. Here we go. Merrick, we can't hear you. It's okay. I'll remove you real quick. I'll let you figure that out. But you can't expect, market socialists to understand how to do audio.
Is this better?
That's better. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's great. That's wonderful.
It's not because I'm a market so.
Oh, you're gone again, by the way. I don't know what happened. Yeah. See, this is what I'm saying. It's totally the market socialism. But the market has not provided her with good audio equipment, apparently. That's a thing. But yeah. So tonight we're gonna kind of. Okay, I can hear you.
Hello. Okay.
Hey, we're back. We're back. All right. Well, welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm glad glad you're here. Thanks for coming on and doing this. It's probably a little different for you than your normal thing, but I'm really glad to have you. So I guess like the first time I ever saw you online was, I believe, after the election and all the news that was generated around then. With you having your parents, making your parents leave your house for
right, when I kicked my poor elderly helpless parents out into the cold. Yes,
cold heartless person. Yes. So they voted for Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm gathering, and that didn't jive with you, and it sounds like it's your house, so you're making the rules, you're putting your foot down. How did that all happen?
Well, so basically the situation was I was just mad online, which it's never safe to be mad online, apparently. Sure. And I feel like I should know this. I've gotten better about it. So I've been like online, like talking about politics for, how old am I? What year is it? Like 13 years. So, but I've been on Twitter. I've been like big on Twitter for like 5 years. So like, I know better, right? You should never talk about anything personal. You should never be vulnerable or mad online. But I don't know. I was frustrated. So yeah, it was a house that we were renting together, but I had paid to move everyone in. I paid all the bills, like everything was in my name, and I was just frustrated. Like I was expressing frustration because, oh, hi. I'm sorry. I have a kitten attacking my chair.
It,
Hi, babe.
it adds to everything.
Okay.
It's great. Love the
Yeah,
cat.
welcome to my house.
Yeah.
So basically I was just frustrated because like my parents don't even like, well, my parents don't like Trump. But they voted for him anyway. And like we've been having all these conversations where I'm like, hey, you know, like a lot of the stuff in Project 2025 is like pretty extreme. It's pretty scary. They're going to be doing stuff with healthcare that's going to affect me, or they want to if they had their way. And we had this whole conversation where I was like, you know, I need a lot of like I need access to birth control because it's the thing that keeps my cysts from rupturing, keeps me out of the hospital. I don't like having, you know, I don't like dealing with this sort of thing, but it is what I deal with. And so we just had this whole conversation where I was like, they want to take birth control away. I don't know that they're going to be able to, but like this is the stuff they want to do, right? Realistically speaking, are they going to be able to do that? At the time when the election had was about to take place, it didn't really seem plausible, but that's not really the point, you know?
Yeah.
If you know that this is on the table and you know that I need it to be okay.
So there's like some personal sides to that. Like,
yeah. And so we'd had this whole long conversation and my parents were like sympathetic, but they were kind of like, well, if that happens, that kind of sucks to suck because, you know, the economy or whatever. And I was like, cool, the economy or whatever. Awesome. And then they voted for him. And I was just upset. You know, I was like, it just feels bad. Especially because, you know, you're voting against your own interests. You're voting against my interests. Like, there's just a lot of reasons why it sucked. And so I went online and I was like, well, I'm mad and my feelings are hurt, which again, I know better. And so I kind of like was talking about the situation and it was just like, you know, like I moved them into this place. I keep this roof over their heads. I really take care of them. I do all this stuff. And then for them to kind of turn around and go, well, you know, maybe this might hurt you, but whatever. There's just like,
there was a line for you and it was crossed and you made a post. I've made plenty of those online. Like I've definitely, vented about my family's political opinions online multiple times.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I was kind of raised more fundamental Baptist. They're definitely hardcore Republicans and I'm not. I'm an anarchist. I think that voting makes you complicit in whatever shitty outcome you get. So, you know, I think that it's probably better to sit out of most of these conversations. But you know, either way, I do think that like I understand. But did your parents ever actually get kicked out? Like this
no, so there was never that was never even on the
never
table.
a thing, right? Like
no, that was never
okay.
a thing at any point. But you know why it became a thing? Because the wonderful, fantastic, always trustworthy and truthful Andy No got a hold of the tweet. I'm sure we all know who Andy No here is. And if we don't, he is like a right-wing propaganda smear artist. I don't even want to call him a fucking journalist because he's not. He likes to like hang out with the Proud Boys and start fights with people and then be like, oh, look, they're attacking me. Like, he sucks. He's the worst. Also, someone threw a milkshake at him once and he was like, there was explosives and concrete and nails in the milkshake and I almost died. He's like so dramatic and goofy, just ridiculous. But he's also like just a little asshole. So Andy No quote tweets me to his million something rabid fucking idiot far right followers. And he was like, look at this dumb big titty slut who's going to kick her parents out and they're going to die in the cold on the streets. And I was like, whoa, what's happening here? Basically, I just said I just didn't want to renew the lease with them. I just didn't want to live with them in 6 months. Like that was it. That was the whole thing. And I was just like, I'm mad online and I don't think I'm going to live with them again next time we renew the lease. Whoa. And so this turned into I'm kicking them out. I'm cruel. I'm horrible. And I was like, okay, milkshake man, why don't you fucking calm down for a second? And I started fighting with him on twitter.com. And I don't think he liked that very much because next thing I know, the Daily Mail is publishing an article about this with basically echoing everything Andy No said. And check this out. So this fucking chick, who I also don't want to call a journalist, but I find her online and I'm like, why did you write this? Why did you just write everything Andy No said? Like, I really think that I was like, I don't even know if this is legal or not, because they were attributing to me, they said that I had said. So I was like, I don't know if you can legally even publish this. She immediately blocked me. And then she changed all of the photos in the article to be like mid screen grabs from a video that I had privated like 4 years ago.
That's
so
pretty
I don't
wild,
know how she found that, unless Andy No is running around on some sort of Kiwi Farms or adjacent site that has like all of my old content archived, like some sort of stalker website, and gave her those, because there's
This is
no
like-
way she could have had that.
Speaking of media, okay, like
Mhm.
I kind of like echo, like, I don't know if you know Michael Malice or not. Like he always says, like,
Oh, I fought with him too, I think.
the corporate media is the enemy of the people. I generally believe this to be 100% true, but I also think that, like, with alternative media, it can be kind of ridiculous, especially like when people use Twitter as a news source these days, and they kind of just take everything that they see as fact the first time that they see it, and then they'll just believe it from there on out. This is like, this was the entire reason that Elon bought Twitter, was so that he could control the information. And like, it's a free speech place for sure, but like, you know, like, I don't know, like, it's not really that free of a speech place anyway, but that's another story. But like, you, like, by, you know, we knew, everyone knew like what kind of information was going to be put on Twitter after Elon bought it. Like, this isn't a surprise. I'm certainly not saying censor it. I'm not saying censor information, even if it's bad information. What I do think is actually really good is the community notes thing. That was something that didn't exist before. Like, people can kind of like fact check things and file for community notes. I think that some of those are great because they usually end up being mostly true. And they also end up being a lot of times hilarious. Like, they'll fact check celebrities and be like, actually, you're full of shit. This is, you know, but
sometimes they're spicy. Sometimes you read a community note and you're like, oh my God, you're so sassy, community note.
But there's just another side to alternative media. Like, they can see something that they saw online. In this case, it was like an Andy No tweet, and then they'll just like copy it verbatim into some article, and then, you know, copy pasta it onto their own news source. And it's like, there could be like, I do think that, like, you know, there could be like 5 or 10% truth, right, in this article. Like, you might even not dispute some of the things that are in it, but like the rest of it is just completely made up. Like, that's just a completely normal thing now, though, which is why, you know, like, the more we get, you know, AI going off too, like, AI is creating the news in some cases these days, which is crazy, because if you type in random shit on ChatGPT, sometimes it'll give you stuff that doesn't even exist. It's like, it'll just say random shit.
I was reading this article recently about people, like, ChatGPT, like, inducing psychosis in people, which is so scary. Okay. I feel like, you know how you were like, she's, you know, the market has not provided her with the appropriate audio equipment.
Right.
It's so funny, right? Because like, I'm such a boomer. It's like a meme on my Twitch stream that, like, it's not a Merrick stream unless there's like 3 technical difficulties and I'm 20 minutes late to my own show. But like, this is how I am about so much. So like, people will start talking to me about ChatGPT and my eyes just kind of glaze over, because like, I'm not a Luddite by any means, but I don't fuck with that at all. Like, I don't want to know what the scary machine in my phone is telling me is real or not, because I don't know if it's real. And I saw something, it was like the stuff that, the amount of stuff that ChatGPT gets wrong, it's like a crazy amount of stuff. And I'm like, I don't want that in my brain. I don't want to be reliant on this. I don't trust it. I don't like it. I'm too old. I don't fuck with it.
For sure.
Also, it's like rotting kids' brains.
It's rotting everyone's brains.
They
not just
can't do
kids.
anything without it.
Yeah, for sure. And now we've got Grok too. That's also, there's all the different AIs are doing the same thing.
Okay, Grok is funny though, because people will be trying to prove a point and they'll tag Grok and Grok will correct them and they'll be like, fuck you, Grok, adjust for this or say this instead. And you're just like, oh no, man, you're arguing with the fucking AI, dog.
I have Grok blocked because people would start going on to my posts and being like, Grok, is this true? Yeah. And I was like, you have to ask ChatGPT to do basic research. Like, you can't just, I don't even want to say Google it.
Yeah, Google it.
You can Google it, but like, also like, don't even like say Google it, because like half the shit you'll find on Google's is probably not true. Like, as we said, like alternative and real media, like a lot of it just pulls shit out of the air. It's not even true. And they'll paint it as truth. They give you like this picture of what reality is supposed to look like based on whatever narrative or political, gains they're trying to get. And that's just how they are. So
that's true. I think if you're reliant on Grok, if you're tagging Grok and things, I actually don't trust your ability to shift through and discern what information is and is not true when you're Googling things. That's a really good point, actually. Yeah,
it's really hard to see what's, like I said, there's truth in the middle. It's really hard to find, like, there is like a website where they'll take all the articles about a specific subject and they weigh them out, and then they give you like a summary of somewhere in the middle. And I don't remember what it's called, but
do you ever use Ground News?
That might even be what I'm talking about. Yeah, I don't use Ground News.
Ow, don't bite me. Sorry. Being attacked.
So like, when did you first start getting more politically active?
So I've been talking about politics since I was like 12. Did I know what I was talking about? No, absolutely not. But was I talking? Yes. So like, I've always been interested in it. And are you kidding me right now? Oh my God. I'm sorry. She's tearing up stuff in a box. As soon as I'm in the office, she just needs attention now. So I started getting involved with I started going to protests, I guess, in 2020. And I've been a DSA member. What year is it? Maybe like 3.
It is 25.
Yeah. So
I don't expect Market Socialists to own calendars either.
I don't have a job, so I'm the most unemployed person you've ever met. I don't know what day it is. I do have a calendar, actually, because I'm going to be in a calendar that's coming out soon. So I have several calendars, actually, and they are for sale. But we're not doing that here.
Okay. That's cool.
No, I'm like perpetually unemployed because I don't have a real job. So I don't ever know what day it is or what's going on. That said,
sounds like most socialists that I know. I'm not going to lie.
Yes, like most socialists. I don't have a job.
That's funny. So would you say that like a lot of your political opinions have formed from the culture you were raised in? Because like, I know for me, like I was raised, like I said, in a pretty strict fundamental Baptist home that was very conservative. And I became really rebellious at a young age. Like I listened to nothing but, anarchist punk rock. And, I started hating the government when I was really, really, really young. So, and I was like pretty rebellious, you know what I mean? So, I think that like growing up in that environment made me like just want to be like polar extreme. Like I hate all of this. And also like being involved in the music scene too, like, a lot of music, especially like in punk and hardcore and stuff. Some of it is like political, right? And like there's a cultural aspect to that too, where like the music scene kind of like promotes a certain culture in that way. And I don't know, like I think a lot of the artists I grew up listening to definitely helped impact and shape where my mind was at the time. Now, since then I've matured and grown and read a lot and made it my own, right? Like they're all wrong, basically. I'm the only one that's right. I'm the only real anarchist. So
that's true.
But would you say that like, your culture and environment shaped a lot of that and how, where you ended up going with everything?
Yeah. So, okay. This is something that I've thought about a lot, actually, is like how people come to leftism specifically. And I think that like there's 3 really big main ways that people come to leftism. And you can see this play out online. I think the biggest way that people come to leftism is through a series of moral injuries. I think they look around them and they see, so in Austin, we have a huge homelessness problem, and we have for a very long time. So when I was growing up, you would always see people living under overpasses. That's very normal. I've always seen that. And I've also seen the homeless population explode over time. So, I think when you see things around you that hurt you on such a deep emotional level, I think that brings a lot of people to leftism because they want to help other people, right? You can't, there's other ways that people come to it too. I think some people come to it because they want to get theirs and they think it's a vehicle to get that. It's like a conduit for that. And then I think that also there's people who get into leftism because it allows them to read a lot of niche esoteric theory, and they can feel like they're superior to everyone else around them in their whatever podunk little fucking town that they're growing up in, like 16 years old, right? Yeah. So I will never be able to remove my home life, the city I grew up in, and the culture that I grew up in from how my worldview is shaped, right? So like, I think that anyone who says that doesn't affect them is either lying or doesn't understand. I also had a unique experience of like, I grew up in two households. So one household, my mother is an atheist. And she's kind of she's just like a regular lib. Her husband is a libertarian. And then my other household, my father and his wife, both of his wives that he's had are very conservative. Mine might even go so far as to say more than conservative. Some very bad things growing up. Yeah. So yeah, I've seen a lot of different like ways to live, and I've heard a lot of ideas about what is the best way to live. And I think that I was just kind of like a regular lib for a really long time. Because
so do you define leftism as liberal then? Is that
no?
No. Okay. No. Okay.
So liberals will always be people who support and uphold capitalism, and leftists will be people who reject capitalism and who are more in the the school of like Marxist school of thought.
Okay. So
I'm a leftist. I'm not a liberal.
I mean, like, I'm sure that you can appreciate the idea of mutual aid, when it comes to like homeless, fixing homelessness and charity and all that stuff. I think that everyone would agree on that. There's a really good book called Mutual Aid in the Welfare State, which I think is good because it kind of like balances where we're at right now with extreme welfare, and also like bringing the idea of, fraternal orders and, all that kind of to the forefront of the conversation. And, Kropotkin was really big on this with mutual aid. I've got, his books and all that too. He was an anarcho-communist. This is definitely deriving from more communist leaning ideas, but I don't think that like most people, if you talk to them on their face, or just, where they're at politically, it doesn't matter if they're, left or right or whatever. I think most people would agree mutual aid is a very good thing. The problem is that nobody wants to do it. So, and I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I'm actually really good friends with a couple of people who've started nonprofits that do mutual aid. Part of like my goals with my nonprofit is to do some mutual aid and help people that are in need. People who need stuff like housing or struggling with drug addiction, suicide, all that. But sometimes people just need a little lift. I just don't think that the government should be taking care of all that. I think that it's extortion. So I don't know. What's your thoughts on all that?
Well, so I think that like the main motivating factor in my politics is compassion. And I started doing volunteer stuff when I was in 11th grade, I think, is when I started really volunteering. I had to go to church, and I didn't want to be in church because I'm not really a church girl. We are all shocked to find out and discover I'm not a church girl.
I honestly thought that you were a trad wife,
Yes.
devout Catholic.
Mhm.
I
I am
assume
an adult Catholic convert and a virgin. I am waiting for Christ and my trad husband. Yes. OnlyFans.com/ no. So I, yeah, I didn't want to go to church, but the household I was living in, I was told that I was going to go to church, and that's all there was to it. So in order to make it tolerable, I organized my youth group to feed the homeless. So I wrote my pastor a letter, and I got everyone together. And then on Saturdays and Sundays, we would make sandwiches and we would go down in San Antonio and we would give them to homeless people. Because I was like, these church fuckers will definitely help me with this. They will love this shit. And this is something good I can do. If I'm going to be here, I'm going to do something good with it. And so like, this is something that I've always been, and this is before I knew about like mutual aid. This is before I knew that I could be anything other than just a liberal. Like, so I wasn't very political at this point. Like, at least not in practice. I didn't really know much about it, but, I've always been drawn to, I think it's about actions, right? Like you can sit there and you can tweet and you can say, we should do things this way. I think this is right. You should respect sex workers. Trump is a fascist. You can tweet all this stuff all day long, but if you're not actually doing anything to help your community, like what's the fucking point? If you don't live your values, what's the fucking point? And so, I am involved in a lot of stuff in my community locally. I don't really like to talk about it because now that I have like actual followers and a platform, I think it comes off as kind of self-serving to talk about, I guess. And like,
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's kind of trashy actually, to talk about it. But yeah, I mean, I have always, I want to help people. I've always wanted to help people. And so, yeah, I have a big appreciation for that. Now, as far as who should be doing it, I think my problem with saying that the state shouldn't be involved is that I don't think, and I don't think that the data shows that you can depend on charity to get the real kind of results that we need. I think that when the state steps in and when they do things correctly, that's when we start seeing the real change that we legitimately need to see. And I felt, I think when I first journeyed into leftism, I was also an anarchist. And I had somebody change my mind about that. And I think like I am very sympathetic to a lot of anarchist arguments. I'm also sympathetic to a lot of arguments about like government is big and it is dumb and it fucks a lot of things up. And it also, when you give it power to do good things, you also give it power to do bad things. I get all of that. I do. I just also think that we can't really depend on like nonprofits and churches and just regular people to take time out of their day to take care of each other. Because I think that we're seeing right now that doesn't really work.
I think that the culture itself has just kind of devolved a lot too over the last 60, 70 years. People don't have as tight of families. And back in the day, like, before we had this huge major welfare state, we did have like families were expected to take care of their family members, right? And like that was a thing. Churches obviously did it throughout history. Mm-hmm. Fraternal orders did it throughout history, charities and all that. And we are in like a little bit different of a spot today because like the welfare state's insane. Like we're spending how many trillions of dollars. And I think that like something we'd probably agree the most on is at the very least, like I can appreciate some humanitarian efforts. Mm-hmm. I don't want my taxpayers going to it, but under no circumstance should we be like giving, billions of dollars a year to like Israel to fund their shit. I don't know. Maybe we disagree on that, but
why do Israelis have health care, but I have potholes in my roads?
Are you sure you're not a libertarian bringing up the roads? Because that's like the one thing that everyone wants to care about is the roads. But
I love dumb libertarians, like really dumb libertarians, because you can defeat them in 3 steps when you talk about the roads. Now, actual like libertarians,
dumb libertarians are pretty pretty common. So
Yes. Yes, they are. But yeah, I think that listen, if I'm going to live in a society, right, I don't mind paying taxes to go to things that help all of us. I don't want to pay taxes to give Saudi Arabia bombs to drop on Yemeni children. I don't want my taxes to give Israelis healthcare. Now, that sounds really bad, right? But the thing is, like, if my tax dollars were giving you and me healthcare, and when I passed from Texas into New Mexico on the drive over here, I wasn't instantly aware the second I crossed the border into New fucking Mexico because the roads are dog shit. If we didn't have people dying under overpasses on like living on the sidewalks, and we still had this abundance of tax dollars and it was going to charitable projects in other nations, cool. I'm okay with that. But I think that the way that we spend our tax dollars right now, there is a fundamental like misallocation of funds. And I absolutely agree with you on that 100%.
Yeah. Well, I kind of wanted to get into, obviously, like the media portrayed you as America or Antifa's top model.
Yes. They called me an Antifa model.
That's so. Have you gotten some major Antifa clout now? Like, did they put your picture in the back of the Antifa handbook? Or
I don't know if you know this, but at all the Antifa meetings, I am the hottest eligible bachelorette. I cannot go to an Antifa meeting without being swarmed. No, it's fucking ridiculous. It's very silly. What she wanted to say was she wanted to say communist whore, and she couldn't say that. So she said Antifa model instead.
I don't know. Have you even read the Antifa handbook by Mark Bray?
I always hold my Antifa card as I read my Antifa handbook, obviously. No, I don't know what this is.
Well, I mean, Mark Bray was like, he's like known as like a leader of the anti-fascist movement. And, you know, he'll self-proclaim, you know, Antifa is not like an organization. It's, you know, and it's an idea, right? Like, and he wrote this book about it, and he talked about, you know, the uprising against fascism that happened during, you know, Weimar Germany, and, you know, against Mussolini and all this shit. And it's actually like an interesting book. Like, I did read it. I think that, like, obviously a lot of times when people write this stuff, they're pointing information towards an audience that they have. So I think there's a lot of that in there, which I can see why it convinces a lot of people about certain things. You know, but like it's pretty interesting because what do you think? Like I don't know. What do you think people misunderstand the most about Antifa? Because like now they've been like Trump just labeled them.
We've been designated a terrorist organization.
Yeah, which is hilarious because like I don't know. I'm gonna go a couple of different directions with this real quick, but like just a couple of years ago under Biden, there was this memo that came out from the FBI that labeled anarcho-capitalists and a lot of like more libertarian types to be political extremists. And now the pendulum has gone the other direction. And you know, we're labeling Antifa this. The problem is that like Antifa, it's not an organization. People do organize, but it's not an organization, right? It's like it's kind of like, I don't know, back during, you know, the revolution or the Civil War, people didn't have like, there wasn't straight sides marked out. It's not like your one neighbor walks out the house and puts his blue cap on, the other neighbor puts his red cap on. That's just not how it works. Like we're just all people living out here trying to figure shit out. But you know, like it going to these like protests and stuff, that's, you know, where they'll organize. There's certainly leaders in this that are organizing protests and shit like that. You know, like there's no denying that. There's probably some kind of inner circle there, but it definitely is decentralized. Like, I don't know, like, I don't think you can point to any one specific thing. What would you say is like the most misunderstood thing about Antifa? And to be completely fair, I think most people that identify as Antifa are absolutely cringe. Just like I think the same thing about people who identify as MAGA, truthfully. They're on different levels, but like that's where I'm at. So
Yeah, I think it really depends. I think it depends on like what side of the political aisle you're talking about. I think from people who are more conservative leaning, when you're saying like, what do they misunderstand about it? That it's a nebulous concept. Like your average liberal wine mom, I'm sorry, let's be so fucking honest. If you talk to the average liberal wine mom right now, she's like, they should be decapitating Republicans in the streets. And you're like, okay, Cheryl, calm down. Oh my God. I mean, I agree with you, but don't say that out loud. You know, like, it's crazy. Have you talked to the fucking middle-aged Democrat women lately? Like, they're pissed. Those women are Antifa. I'm sorry, if you are anti-fascist, you are Antifa. That's literally all there is to it. Like, you are. Anyone who is against fascism is, by definition, Antifa, right? So I do think that, like, when you're talking about, like, conservative people, what do they misunderstand? They misunderstand that it's not, it's an idea. It's an idea. A lot of people embody it. And I think when you talk to, like, more like maybe liberal left-leaning people, I think that they would probably misunderstand that there is like some degree of organization, because if you go on right-wing Twitter, they're like
they had QAnon, and you know, I mean, the right had QAnon, and they had their whole January 6th moment even recently, you know, where like that was kind of a more decentralized thing where there wasn't like an official leader.
But they still have a series of groups. They do still have, like, you know, you've got some militias that were part of that. You had some different kinds of activists who absolutely were organizing people. You had different kinds of conservatives there. And I do think that there is some degree of organization amongst left-leaning people. Like, you do still have people who are organizing protests and people are showing up. And there probably is, when you look at some of these left-leaning groups, there probably is some funding that you would be like,
I mean, like he like Mark Bray, the guy who wrote Antifa handbook, he literally said that 50% of the proceeds he gets from that goes to Antifa organizations and causes, which I don't know if he actually said the word organizations. I think he more said like causes. And I think he uses it to like fight lawsuits and stuff that are going against like anti-racism and anti-fascist causes and stuff. But, you know, like there's definitely like a lot of money over there. Something that like, I don't know if it's as obvious to people that are actually part of it and in the thick of it. But, you know, I don't know, like, I guess I got to start by saying, like, do you think that most people that identify as Antifa are generally good people trying to do the right thing? Or do you think that they're mostly like cringe lords on the internet that are just trying to get attention?
So I think that almost everyone thinks that they're trying to do the right thing, right? Like, I think most people who are politically active, I genuinely believe that most people who are politically active are good people who are trying to do the right thing. I think that I think this sort of changes when you look at people who are influential. Like, there are people who are influential in left-leaning spaces that I know personally just from having a little bit of, you know, clout, notoriety or whatever. And I don't know that they're good people. I think if you become a really successful content creator, you become really famous. I think you become a really big name activist. I think a lot of those people get in those positions because they're willing to do exactly what they need to do to get that attention and to get kind of big. And I don't know that all those people are very good, but I do think that, like, as far as the vast majority of people who are genuinely taking time out of their day to try and to like really talk about, shape, or get involved with politics, I think a lot of them think that they're doing the right thing. I really do.
Yeah. So the problem is that like everybody is very naive and they just want to believe that, you know, people marching in the streets of them are, you know, there for the same reasons. But the problem is now we have also, you know, going back to, let's say, January 6th, we have now that they've found over 250 people that were there were federal agents provoking all of the stuff that was happening. And that is 100% happening on the left as well with Antifa at their protests. There is 100% feds subverting those people and making them all look terrible. The problem is that, like, when you have these like fringe opposites here. There are like most people that were there at January 6th are legitimately dumb people. They were legitimately some of the dumbest people that exist. Some of the people that are walking through the Capitol building literally looked mentally retarded. And I'm not even like saying that like in a crazy way. I'm saying, but like the same shit's happening in fucking Portland, and it happened at Chad. There's absolutely fucking feds involved with this shit, and I'm not trying to be conspiratorial, but like
this is not conspiratorial. We know about COINTELPRO. It's been happening since the 60s. We know about Operation Gladio. Like, I'm sorry, if you want to get me, I feel like I'm very reasonable, and a lot of people are like, oh, you're so reasonable for a commie. If you want to get me sounding crazy, start talking about the Fed, start talking about the CIA, and start talking about like the shit that they've been doing, because they've been doing it for fucking forever. We know that it's true. We know it's fucking real. Oh yeah, I think you're completely on the money with this.
I think that you actually, I think I might have seen a post you made recently about how like DSA, they basically just argue about policies and stuff all the time. I'm telling you right now, the fucking Libertarian Party is the same way. Okay, like I have been involved with the Libertarian Party for a long time because I thought it was like, for a long time at least, I thought it was actually like the best way to be a fuck you vote and make a political difference. And at this point, I'm like, don't vote. But, you know, I feel like it's so wild because I got pretty deeply involved to the point where I was like in leadership. I was the chair for state affiliates. I am still currently on the national committee for the Libertarian Party for like until I either resign or like my time runs out. But like,
can you answer a question for me? What the fuck is going on in New Hampshire? What the fuck are those libertarians doing up there? Because everything, I think it's New Hampshire. Because every time I see, I'm sorry, what now?
That's me. I mean,
you're in New Hampshire?
Yeah, I was the chair for
the wrong state, but there's an account on Twitter where it's like the Libertarian Party of wherever, and they'll be posting shit, and they'll be like talking about like how slavery is good, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now?
You don't know.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm the chair of that. I was the chair of that organization.
Am I thinking of the wrong state?
No, you're not thinking of the wrong state. That is literally stuff that happened. 100%.
Why are they posting this shit? What's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. It's fucking wild. But like I said, like on the national committee, all they do, I've been on this thing for 2 years. Biggest waste of my time in my life. And every meeting goes on for 4 or 5 hours, and all they want to do is argue about policy manual changes. And the whole time they're virtue signaling, saying we're going to change the world and make it such a better place. We want to do all these cool things for the next election. And guess what? 2 years have gone by. They haven't done shit.
They haven't done shit.
And in fact, the presidential candidate, I think he got less than 0.5% of the vote. Like, it's a total joke.
My last DSA meeting that I went to, we argued and voted for 20 minutes about changing the name of a resolution, changing how the name on the document appears. It's an internal document. No one else.
This is all too familiar with me. I'm telling you right now, it's the same picture. It's the same picture. It's the meme. It's the same picture. I'm telling you.
So someone was like, they're all terrorists. And I was like, they couldn't organize any sort of terror. Are you kidding me? What?
Oh my God, that's so wild.
Of fucking rad libs. Sorry.
You're good. You're good.
Can you hear this, by the way? Oh, they just stopped. Okay, sorry.
The cat's going off over there.
The cat's losing her mind, but the golden doodles that live above me, I'm not gonna get into specifics, but there's golden doodles that live above me, and they'll howl all throughout the day. They freak the fuck out.
I can't kind of hear like a little barking, but it's not obvious. I wouldn't even worry about it. Yeah.
All right. Hold on. I need to go. Mommy needs another White Claw, so I'm gonna be right back.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good.
You, Miss Ma'am, need to get out of the box.
So I guess I'll keep things rolling here solo for a couple seconds while she gets a White Claw. But I do think that it is important to realize that all of these organizations are subverted by COINTELPRO agents 100%. There's no way that there's none of them in the LP or in DSA. A lot of like the crazy actions that happen out on the streets, those are 100% provoked by federal agents because they want to control the way that you see these certain people. and keep people fighting with each other. And they legitimately just want to control the narrative. And that's all they've done for years. And I don't know how people haven't seen it, but it's been happening for literally years. I mean, it happened, back the Tea Party. And then, they had a couple of like left-wing organizations. Even the Black Lives Matter rallies had a lot of this shit going on, provoking riots, provoking burning down federal buildings, all kinds of stuff, making the rest of these people look absolutely terrible for participating in that, when really most people that were out there were just trying to probably generally do the right thing. The problem is that there was a lot of feds out there, and they were telling people, hey, you need to burn down this police precinct, which, hey, no love lost for police precincts. I hate the fucking cops. Okay. But, I don't know. Anyway, hey, welcome back, Merrick.
Are you telling them about all the bad stuff I got up to and how I got famous at protests because I was
not yet? No. Actually, I was actually gonna go a different direction and say, so I was actually gonna ask like kind of how you decided to start getting into sex work. Like, how did that all take shape, and has it helped shape your independence as a person?
Sure. Yeah. I definitely think that I would not be able to live the way that I do. And I'm not like upper middle class or anything like that. I'm not wealthy, definitely not. And part of that is because I spent a lot of time taking care of a lot of other people until very recently. So part of that is on me. You can make an incredible amount of money in sex work. I've never been one of those girls that makes like hundreds and hundreds of thousands or millions or anything like that. But I do think that it affords me a lifestyle and the ability to take care of myself and to take care of the people that I care about that I would not have otherwise. I think that it allows me to do the things that I like and that I love that I would not be able to do otherwise. As far as how I got into it, it's not like the most heartwarming, fuzzy, good story. But if you want me to be honest about it and you're okay with me kind of talking about stuff that's maybe not okay. Yeah. So I was on my own when I was in high school. As a senior, I was already not living with my parents. And I like graduated high school from a friend's couch. I didn't have anywhere to live, so I went off to college for a little bit. That didn't work out. I dropped out pretty quickly. I came back to Austin and I was just working. I was working so many jobs. I was working 3 different fast food jobs. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a driver's license. I didn't have a bank account, I don't think, for a while. I was sleeping on a pile of clothes in a room that I was renting from these cab drivers who I am 100% certain were stealing my underwear. It was not great, right? Like, it was not a great situation. And I just was so burnt out, and I was doing that for so long, and I was like getting sick. And I was like, I'm 18 years old. Like, this is crazy. I should not have this much responsibility. I should not be working this many hours and have nothing to show for it. So I started cocktailing at a strip club, and so I could get rid of one of the jobs. And that sucked. I did that for like 8 months, and I just wasn't making anything. I mean, I'd walk out of a day shift with like $60, and I was like,
"Yeah, really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, that sucks."
I was working at a hole-in-the-wall biker bar strip club, though. So as a day shift cocktail who didn't know how to hustle. So like,
and I've heard this like a similar story multiple times. Did somebody in management approach you and say like, "Hey, you should consider just dancing or something instead"? No? Okay, I'm wrong. But I've heard that happen many times. Like,
oh yeah, that's pretty.
It happens all the time.
Yeah, but so I started working night shifts. Cocktailing night shifts, and I was just like, man, I'm not making money, and if I'm going to be in this environment, I'm going to make money. And so when I was like 19, I just said, okay, we're going to see what happens. And I worked a day shift, and I made $500 in a couple of hours, not knowing anything. I looked like a baby damn giraffe. Like, I was so uncoordinated. I was wearing heels that were not even stripper heels. They were like regular going out heels that I bought from Aldi for like $20. I was wearing the largest purple spandex underwear that you've ever seen in your life, and like a metal t-shirt that I'd like cut up and tied in the front. Like it was it was such a fucking mess, right? And I made $500. And I was like, oh, this is what I do for work now. Okay. Because I think once you have something like that happen, you go, oh, I can't go back. Okay.
For sure. Yeah. Like once you see the money, you don't want to like go back to not having the money. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I was really bad at it for a really long time. I'm a bad dancer. I'm still kind of a bad stripper because I won't lie to people. And I don't like, you have to be kind of pushy and you have to hustle and you really have to sell. And the way you make money as a dancer is you sell rooms, that and you walk outside the club. And I don't want to do either of those things. So I was kind of a bad stripper, but I got really good on stage and I got really good at doing pole. And so I did that consistently for like 7 years. I've been a dancer on and off for like 13 years now, but I did it consistently for like 7. And then COVID happened. And my husband, who I was married to at the time, who technically I'm still married to, lost his job. And I just like, I had never wanted to do porn. I've always said I would never do it. I didn't want to. And basically when he lost his job, and then it was around the time he had been out of work for a while. He just never really got another job. And about a year in, he basically said, so here's what you're going to do to take care of our family. You're going to make an OnlyFans.
Damn.
And I said, oh, and he said, yeah, that's what you're going to do because you want the mortgage to be paid, right? And I was like, I do want the mortgage to be paid. Yeah, I do actually. That would be pretty cool. So he was like, here's what you tell people you're into. This is what you say your kinks are. This is what you wear. This is what you write. Here's what you do. And he would make me film full scenes every day, sometimes twice a day.
Jesus Christ. That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
Oh yeah, no, I never wanted to get into porn or OnlyFans. Like he would be like, I would be like crying, and he'd be like, "Get your shit together, we have to film." Yeah.
Wow, that is so fucked up. Oh my god,
it's really fucked up. I'm not like a liberal girl boss. Like, yeah, girl sex work is empowering. Like that's not how I
was just gonna say that. My next question was because I've had people who are strippers on my show. I've had some cam girls, you know, like the big debate is always like, is this empowering or exploitive of women, right? And I think like most people would agree that it's pretty exploits a lot of people in the sex industry that are, you know, most of them, you know, if they're doing that, they don't want to do that type of shit, right? Are you still doing it? Are you like cutting that shit off? I mean,
that's how I make my money.
Okay, so there came to a point where like you were able to like guide your own path. I'm assuming that you ditched the baggage, and then you're like, the money's good, so I'm gonna keep doing it. But you know, I'm
golden handcuffs.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So I have a lot of organ damage from COVID. I have heart damage and I have lung damage from COVID, and that has made getting another job very difficult. So also like the only thing I'm really qualified to do outside of sex work is like food service and service industry, bartending, stuff like that. I don't have a college degree, and until like the last 3 months, I was financially supporting like a lot of people in my life. And so, yeah, I mean, that was kind of another reason why like I was frustrated with my parents, right? Because like my parents, my dad and then like they're conservative Christians, and they knew that they were living off my porn money. They knew that. They don't care, you know? And so I think that that's kind of like, as soon as I started doing it, and as soon as I started making money, I was everybody's cash cow. I was everybody's ATM. And so it's only been the last like 3 or 4 months that I've lived alone and only had to be financially responsible for myself since I started doing it.
What's something that people would never expect that you've experienced in the sex work industry, whether it was like while you're stripping or going into OnlyFans? Because I know that a lot of people fall into OnlyFans because they just don't have money, and boobs are free money. like truthfully, like it's just the truth.
They get paid for themselves a million times over. It's so true.
I'm sure that they
Thank
have.
you, Dr. Black, you are an angel.
But there's like a lot of things about that world that people don't know. And like one of it is whenever you put your face on the internet in the sex work industry, it doesn't leave, right?
Yeah.
Like it never is gone. So people, especially young people who go into it sometimes naively, sometimes maybe forced. They don't think about where am I going to be at where I'm 35 and I want to have that nice office job and get hired for that, right? I don't know. Like there's so many things to consider, right?
I think the thing that when you say what would people not expect that you've experienced, I didn't know that people would try to kill me. Someone came to my house, tried to kick my door in. Yeah.
What the hell?
So something about the combination of sex work and politics breaks men's brains. Obviously, women have some shit to talk to me too, but the vast majority of people who are like absolutely psychotic and evil to me online are men. I didn't know. I mean, I knew people would be like, that's not like, that's taboo. Like, that's not a good job. I didn't know that people would try to like fuck my life up, like offline. And like, that's been really crazy. I also kind of like, I don't know, I'm also kind of surprised by how many people you also get surprised by how many people don't care too. Cause like, I think a lot of people think like, oh, you probably must have such a hard time dating. And it's like, no, not really. I'm actually kind of surprised at how many men don't care. Like, that part's been really easy. People in real life, very chill, very accepting. Everyone's cool. It's very rare that like somebody meets me, is cool with me, starts following me online, finds out what I do, and then treats me different. That does happen, but it's pretty rare. And it's actually happened more here in Utah than it ever did in Austin. Which
I was literally, I think that like you kind of like mindset is kind of like in the same spot here, but I was going to say like, it's kind of like when they have the Republican National Convention, it's known as the Grindr Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, the power when Grindr goes down whenever there's a Republican. Yeah,
it's kind of hilarious. But I've talked to plenty of people in the sex industry, and the vast majority of them, like, and you know, a lot of them will say that a lot of times it's married men who are conservative that find themselves buying their content and becoming crazy obsessive, and they'll literally, like, I've seen it happen to people that I've been very close to, you know, married men who maxed out credit cards on OnlyFans, ruined their entire life over it, you know, because I don't know, for some reason the wife considers it cheating, and if they have that kind of agreement, that's, you know, on them, I guess. I don't know. I have kind of different perspectives on that, but
whatever you guys are comfortable or not comfortable with inside of your relationship, I feel like if you violate that, that's cheating, even if to other people it's not.
Right. Well, I'm like a relationship anarchist, so like I think that like every relationship is different. So you define it yourself. Like you can't go off of what society wants to paint for you. So whatever you agree with your spouse, if you violate those rules, then you broke the rules. That's how it is. A lot of people call porn non-negotiable, right? But the vast majority of porn consumers are Republican men that are married.
So conservative men love me. They love me. And it's very funny because they'll be like, I'll get DMs that are like, I hate you so fucking much. You're such an evil libtard cunt, and I can't stop jerking off to you. I'm like, yes, it's so funny.
Jesus Christ,
it's so funny. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I also have a lot of guys that are like, I want you to cuck me because I'm like a successful Republican, and you're like a little evil commie demon, and you're just so sexy. And I want you to fuck a black man in front of me. And I'm like,
Oh my God.
You need a therapist. You don't need me. You need a therapist.
Yeah, man. Have you ever tried video games? This is pretty great. This is the story that I hear from pretty much everyone I talk to in the sex industry. I'm coming up now. I think we're on episode 64, maybe 65. When I get to episode 69, I'm going to try to do like basically like have a brothel show where I just have a shit ton of sex workers on. We're just going to talk about different perspectives and stuff. But like it's the same story every time. It doesn't even surprise me what I hear. So.
My Hinge, when I'm like, okay, my Hinge is crazy because, like, yeah, it's a lot of liberal dudes too. But I'll look at some of the guys who try and match with me and message me, and they're like conservative, Christian, if don't apply, if this, that, and the other. And they have all this stuff on there, and I'm like, I'm a socially liberal, Jewish, communist, atheist, feminist, online whore. Why are you trying to date me? But it's like, I don't know. I think people like things that are taboo. And I think someone like me is incredibly taboo and thus very enticing to conservative men. I also think people don't like this one, but I think that conservative men like liberal women because liberal women are going to be more understanding. They're going to be more empathetic, whereas conservative women are going to be like, don't be a pussy, don't have feelings, don't cry, fuck you, go build me a house.
That's very true. And also, and I'll tell you right now, as a man, the reason that, conservative men would probably flock to liberal women is because they'll get more than missionary.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
So,
and I know. And I think that's the other thing is I think men look at me and they're like, oh, she's got that fucking grippy sock vacation pussy. And like, yes, obviously I do. You're correct. But like, I think that's a big draw too, right? Is like, they know that they know it's going to be so fun.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, like I said, nothing that you're saying surprises me at all. I've heard it before. I'll hear it again. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. But this is where you're at. Obviously you've been, pretty successful doing it because you're able to pay your bills with it, and do all that. Do you have any ambitions for the future to transition out of this and into something and settle into something like that's completely in a different market? And if so, what are your interests in that area?
So, my problem is that I'm God's most ADHD angel and I have like 30 different things that I want to do. You know how when you talk to a little kid and you're like, what do you want to do? And they're like, I want to be an astronaut and the president and I want to be the world's most famous athlete. And you're like, oh, you're so stupid. You're not going to be any of those things. That's me at 31. I'm like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I'm going to study virology. And then I'm going to get a veterinary science degree. And then and I don't know. There's all this shit that I want to fucking do. I do think that realistically, I would probably go back to school and I would study veterinary medicine and I want to work with animals. Like I want to rehabilitate sick and injured wildlife and work with animals.
That's awesome. That'd be cool. There was a time period where I was like, man, I'd love to like work for Fish and Game because I think that like being out in wildlife is cool. But they don't make any money, and two, you're paid by the government. So as an anarchist, I've been an anarchist since I was 16.
Yeah, that would be terrible for you.
It would be
You'd be compromising your
And I'm not like mad about, because I live in reality. I'm not a utopian. What I want in the world and to see for society, it's never going to happen. And I think that like, that's what people don't understand is like, I'm living in the present. So like, yeah, there's times where like, as an anarchist, I got to just like, put it on the shelf for a minute and act like a normal fucking person.
Thank you. Because something I get all the time is people are like, OnlyFans, huh? You think under communism you could have your little OnlyFans? And I'm like, well, hopefully I wouldn't fucking need to. But I also, people think it's so funny. They're like, you're literally a business owner. Like, how could you be a socialist? Oh, I'm sorry. You think we should improve society somewhat? Yet you live in society. Haha. Like everyone is that meme all the time. And you're like, can you just think for 2 seconds, please. Like, I think it's good that you're realistic about that, you know, because like when people hit me with that, I'm just like, oh, okay, I don't have to listen to anything you say after this. Thank you. Never mind. Like,
Right.
it's frustrating.
Most of the time when I talk to other anarchists, they are the utopian, I have to live in either Ancapistan or an anarcho-communist, commune out in the woods with no electricity and homestead and all this. And I was like, okay, like that's fine for some people. And maybe some of you can make that a reality and you can go live in the woods by yourself and never have the impact of the outside
Go
world.
Kaczynski it up. Go have fun.
But like, I have a really good job and I live in a normal society where people do vote. And like I said, voting is violence. And all of these people that are voting are going to vote for something that I hate at some point. So there's going to come a time where I'm like, you got to participate a little bit, which is why I'm politically active. Like I said, I'm been with the Libertarian Party for a really long time. And I consider that compromising my own values, even though like they want really small government. Well, guess what? I think it'd be ideal if we had no government. The problem is that I'm not an idiot. And I know that it's not going to happen to have no government ever. We're not going to, I think having small government is utopian. I think that's insane. We're not going to have no minarchist government. These fucking idiots over there, like saying this is even possible. No, it's not. Look at the current political culture in America. We have
look around you. We live in the Burger Reich. What are you talking about?
Fucking nuts. These people are crazy. But either way, like I can talk to them like they're normal fucking people and, get along with all of them, because I think generally, like I said earlier, they're generally good people and they really do want to see what's better for society. And their beliefs are derived from a value of like, they don't want the government to steal from people. So they want to provide your normal person with a better life. And I appreciate that. And I think I can work with these people on a lot of things, maybe not everything, but like generally, I think that a lot of people just want to like see the world become a better place. That where everyone doesn't just hate each other, doesn't become tribal and fight each other all the time. The reality of it is, historically, there's never been a time in history where that's happened. Yeah. Even the Icelandic Republic, which had no official government, those people fought all the time. Like,
yeah, I mean, so this is something I think about too. Like, what is the
Icelandic Commonwealth? I don't know why I said Republic, but
well, so like think of this too. Like what do we have that we can look at that I don't know is anything close to what I would like to see? Like Rojava, maybe they seem like they're doing okay over there. But I also understand that like we're never going to live in a stateless, classless, moneyless society, right? And I don't need to explain what communism actually is to you because there's so many people that like when you start trying to talk to them about utopianism versus like being realistic about things, you have to actually explain what communism is, right? Because people are like, communism is when the state owns everything and there's bread lines, and you're like,
truthfully, like I am. I think that there's some anarcho-communists that have had some great ideas that they put forward. Like one of my favorite people is Emma Goldman, who was around during Soviet Russia, and she has some great ideas.
I love Emma Goldman.
Yeah, but I think that the overarching problem is that people like Lenin and Stalin, Mao, these are all like some of the worst people in world history that have killed so many people, and I do think that it's like legitimately evil.
Did a lot of murder.
You know what I mean? Like it's just Hitler. It's horseshoe theory, right? It's just the same shit.
Okay, so I don't love horseshoe theory because I think that I don't love it as a concept because I think that like the intentions are very different. Like when you talk to fascists, a lot of fascists like they don't want what's best for everybody. Like we talk about how like I do think most people are good. I think when we're talking to actual fascists and not your MAGA uncle who is telling you at Thanksgiving some racist shit or whatever, ideological fascists, those people do not want what's best for everybody. those people want suffering. They believe in a hierarchy. Like, a lot of people passively believe in hierarchy and they don't even really realize they do, just because like they've absorbed it via cultural osmosis their whole lives, like through all the messaging they've ever taken their whole lives, right? Fascists actively believe in hierarchy, right? And so I don't think that those people have the best interests, and I don't think that they are like genuinely at their core good. So whenever people are talking about horseshoe theory, I'm like, okay, so over here you're putting like Groiper, Cunny, I love Lolly 69, Hitler's my favorite guy, right? So he's over here. And then over here, you're putting like a 16-year-old that's like, Mao didn't mean to kill all those people. And like, to me, I feel like I
think there's a big difference though between a 16-year-old saying Mao didn't mean to kill his people and like the system that was in Russia, for instance, that created Stalin, like that whole system, like because Emmett Goldman like met with Lenin, like with Alexander Berkman and all this stuff, and they had some conversations there, and the problem is that they basically went off the fucking deep end at some point, and they're like, our ideas are now going to turn into violent ideas. Because if you don't have free speech, you have free violence, and that's just the truth. Now, that's kind of like my next question too, though. Okay. Is libertarians believe in this thing called the non-aggression principle. It was originally called the non-aggression axiom, which is like a whole axiom principle. I just had this debate with a bunch of people, but I don't buy into that all the way. Why not? I actually believe that in some situations, historically, history proves this, that violence has been needed to facilitate change. And I'm not saying that I want to be the guy to do that. And I'm not trying to like Fed post right now.
So it's really hard to have this conversation without Fed posting. But
it is. It's really hard. And like anytime I say this publicly, people are like, oh, like stop Fed posting. You're going to have the government kick down your door. You know what I mean? But do you think that violence is justified in some situations to facilitate political change?
Yes, I think you're a child if you think otherwise.
I think like that this has historically just been the case with every regime change and war in history. Yeah. And most wars, if you think about it, even going back to like the revolution, like I said, I'm in New Hampshire. Not sure how familiar you are with the Pine Tree Riot. You don't know that? So it's the event that was it happened before the Boston Tea Party in New Hampshire. So basically the Royals or whatever, they were doing like a 10% tax on any tree that was bigger than 8 inches. And there was a lumber company in Ware, New Hampshire that was like, fuck you, I'm not paying these taxes. You don't have any right over this money. This isn't yours. And they said, we're not going to pay you. So the Royals sent the sheriff and his deputy to the lumber mill to arrest the owner of it. And the owner and everyone that worked there burned down all the wood. And then they grabbed the sheriff and deputy and threw him in jail overnight and said, fuck off.
Fuck around, find out.
This is it's the revolutionary attitude that they had, during that time. But that's violence. Like they threw them in jail. You know what I mean? They burned down, all their stuff that was technically probably someone else's property that they paid for.
Yeah, I think like people saying that like anyone who kind of disagrees with this, it's like, okay, well, what about the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising? Like, what are you talking about? Of course, sometimes it's the tolerance paradox, right? That if you tolerate people who want to aggress on you and they want to hurt and they want to kill others, and you think, oh, well, we're going to get rid of these people by sitting in a circle with them and holding hands and singing Kumbaya, like, okay, cool, they're going to kill you. You're going to die. So yeah, I think it's very, I just don't understand how you could think otherwise.
Do you have a similar view on free speech, when it comes to like, I don't like, I'm a free speech absolutist. So even if like someone wants to say something that is absolutely detestable, I think that they should be able to say that. And I think that like by what they say, I can choose to associate with those people or not. And I
Oh,
think that like saying shit on the internet has been a great way of me filtering out who I want in my circle and who I don't want in my circle.
okay, so
But
it's
it's a
tough.
sensitive topic with you commies because you really do a lot of maybe not you, but maybe you like to cancel people for the words that they say. It happens a lot.
I think
But the right does it too. The right does it too. So, anyways,
okay. So the way I look at free speech is like I think you should. It's tough because should you be able to come into my mentions and say that I am a blown out sex doll whore and that the only reason that I am this way is because my uncle touched me and I'm retarded? Should you be able to say this to me? Yeah, I guess so. You know, like it sucks. I don't like that people, if you spend 2 minutes looking through my Twitter account, you'll be like, wow, that's disgusting. I need to log off. Like, you'll just, the way people talk to me, it's like really reprehensible and evil. But should they be able to say that stuff? Unfortunately, I believe so, yes. Now, where it gets complicated is stuff like misinformation, disinformation. Like, we understand that there are people, that there are actors out there who are actively running disinformation campaigns. They have bots, they have these farms of people, they lie to like actively, change the outcome of elections, to make people more hateful. I think if you're sitting there and you're saying like, if you're doing race realism, if you're Nick Fuentes, if you're advocating that, like, I mean, there's a lot of guys who come into my mentions and they talk about how I should be like killed in public. Like, that's really tough, right? Because the more that that is able to breathe and grow and exist freely, like that puts me in danger. And like I told you earlier, like
sure. I mean, that
house.
same thing happened recently, and I know you went viral for your opinions on Charlie Kirk, but like he was getting those death threats all the time, and then it happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's something to be said there. It's truthfully like social media companies are, if you want like an open platform and just allow all free speech, that's one thing. That isn't what happens on Twitter or Blue Sky or Facebook or anywhere.
Cis.
Right?
If you type the word cis, you get censored.
It's one of those things. It's like, you know, there's no place where you can truly have free speech unless you're like just talking to somebody, right? And like I said, if you don't have free speech, you have free violence. So really, this is where we're at in our politics today, is like people are saying certain trigger words that are making the other side of the aisle really upset. Right now, for Donald Trump, it's been Antifa. So, you know, they're now a terrorist organization. Well, guess what? In 4 years, when the pendulum swings again and we have AOC or Gavin Newsom as president.
We're getting Gavin Newsom. I'm so sorry, but we're getting Gavin Newsom.
I don't care. Like,
I don't want
whatever.
Gavin Newsom.
I don't care who ends up as the president. I honestly, they're not my leader. So
I just think that Gavin Newsom is basically like Patrick Bateman in real life. I think he's the scariest motherfucker in the world, and I think that he spends his free time lighting homeless people on fire.
He's a slimy dude. He's a slimy dude. But like what I'm getting at is like, once one of those people is in office, it's going to go the other way, and people that have more, I guess, right-wing views are also going to be labeled terrorists and be labeled a terrorist organization. You know what I mean? So it's just, they weaponize your words, and I don't know, this is how it's been. And honestly, like, this has been a fun conversation. It's gone, you know, past, I think we're past 10 now. And I had a lot of questions that I still had for you, but I don't want to keep you too long. So I guess from this point, maybe we could chat again, but where do you want to leave people off with your thoughts here? So I guess what's next for you? Do you have any projects you're working on? You said you had a calendar that's coming out soon. So, you know, there's that. And then also, like, try to leave people on, I guess, like a positive note. Yes. Like, what do you see positive about the world today and what's around you? And, you know, how can we continue to grow as a society?
Yeah, so I always, whenever I have these conversations or I'm on anyone's show, I always try to do that at the end. I think that right now a lot of people are scared. I think a lot of people are very upset. And I think that they have every right to be, right? Like, I'm scared. I'm upset about things. I don't know what's going to happen. And, you know, I think when you see masked, I mean, nobody likes it. Everyone thinks it's kind of cringe, but like when you see like masked fucking Gestapo, like I'm sorry, I think it's fucking evil. When you see these people kidnapping our neighbors off the streets, like I think it induces a lot of dread, and everyone kind of feels really burnt out. And I think that that's normal. It's okay that you feel that way, but something that I really encourage people to do is like maybe spend less time on your phone, and try to spend more time in your body and in your community and working on really like taking care of the people who are in your life, taking care of the people that you love, taking care of yourself, because the way that you lose and the way that things get worse is you are hopeless and you are scared and you are burnt out and you feel like you're alone and you feel like you're powerless. You're not. You're not. And the thing is anyone coming to save us? No, they're not. But that's why
stay strapped, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, no, take care of yourself, take care of your community. And a big part of that, unfortunately, is self-reliance, right? So like, try to keep your mental health in good working order, try to spend less time online, try to spend more time, you know, out in the sun, drinking water, going to the gym, and taking care of the people that you love, and remembering that like we only have each other and that we have to take care of each other. And I think that if you can spend time doing that, then that's good. And that's what's going to keep us safe. And that's what's going to get us through what unfortunately right now is a very bad situation that we all find ourselves in. Right. Mm-hmm. So I do think that like you have that power and you have that ability. And sometimes we forget. And so it's nice to be reminded of that. So
100%.
It's the thing that I want people to remember. And as far as like, what do I have going on? Yeah, I would love to come back on. It's only 8:00 where I'm at, so you have not taken up too much of my time, but I appreciate you being concerned about that. I would love to come back on. I am currently, I guess I'm maybe going to start streaming again. I keep saying this.
Like video games or like
no
sex work?
Talking.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
I have a stream where I talk about like news and politics and current events, stuff like that.
Okay.
And then I also have a calendar coming out for next year. It's called Telephone Girls. It's me and a bunch of other like Twitter sex worker girls. I am January, and it's very cute. It's like a 70s retro porno theme. It's very, very cute. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on.
And I will drop you backstage real quick in the show, and then we can chat again in just a second. All right?
Yes, sir.
Thanks. All right. Thank you guys for watching the show tonight. I really appreciate you being here. Next week, I do have a guest coming on, but I am going to be traveling a little bit, so I got to figure out what day I can make that happen. So I guess we'll figure that out, and you'll find it on Twitter. So, yeah, hope you guys have a good night, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Coming for the